Thank you for always finding time to be with us. I would like to use this opportunity to wish all Ugandan citizens a happy new year. I also want to use this occasion to convey our most sincere condolences to the family of our fallen colleague, the Honorable Mohamed Sejirinya, whom all of you might know was one time a member of the FDC. We convey our apologies, we convey our condolences to the Parliament of Uganda, our friends in the National Unity Platform, all activists with whom the late Segrinya worked, and we would like to ask the Almighty God to rest his soul in eternal peace. Today's press briefing, 4 key related areas. First and foremost, we will be making a clarion call to our former comrades who wish to return to the fold to come back. Secondly, we will be reaffirming our participation in the election of 2026 and such activities that we will be conducting in order to remain viable in that election. I will also be taking the opportunity to announce the second phase of our countrywide mobilization. And we'll also be using this opportunity to put to notice the Uganda Electoral Commission on their failures in performance of their duty. We have been approached by a number of our former members who express a desire to return to the party and to actively participate in the activities of the party, including mobilization towards the forthcoming elections. The FDC Constitution in Article 12 to you hear me?
Yes, no.
It gives opportunity to any returning member to do so in the requirements of the Constitution. For sensitivity here. You can bring that as well. And you can see the quiet, the peace and quiet within the FDC. This is in complete contrast to other political parties in the opposition. And I think this informs the kind of political movement that is now happening, focusing the FDC. we as a party have embarked on an aggressive campaign to encourage young people of our country to join the party and to seek leadership positions by participating in the forthcoming exercise of party structure formation and refilling of vacant leadership positions. We have a commitment as a party to have filled up our structures through residual elections and also gap filling by the end of this month. So by January 31st, 2025, we are going to be having fully fledged leadership structure from the grassroots to the national level. I wish to inform Ugandans that the FDC offers equal opportunities to everybody, and I therefore make a clarion call to citizens, especially the youth, to join the FDC as one of their first choice. I now go to the general elections. Public rally engagement with the citizens in selected sub-regions of the country, and you will bear witness that we had a bumper harvest. That contrary to the wishes of some of our opponents that we may collapse and die politically, that contrary to even the reporting of the national media, the media, of our progress as a political organization, we bravely went out across the country to say to everyone that the FDC is very much alive and formidable, that the FDC has capacity, it has manpower, it has the ability to win an election and manage this country in accordance with the aspirations of the Ugandan citizens. For going forward, we shall resume our engagement with the citizens through a series of countrywide activities, the objectives of which are the following. Number one, continue with enhancing confidence within the FDC members and the citizens. Two, dissemination of critical information about the position on participation of the FDC in the 2026 general elections. Number three, projection of the positive image of the party. Four, mobilization and recruitment of citizens into the FDC. Number five, mobilization of citizens to register and vote in the 2026 general elections. Number six, continue with the e-registration of members, an initiative of the party that has not been done by any other political organization in this country. We'll also be empowering citizens with information about the shortcoming of the government in power. We are counting nearly 4 years since the beginning of this term of office of the NRM. And we feel that it is within our responsibility to check the performance of the NRM government. Citizens of this country continue to yearn for better services, especially social service delivery. There are a lot of glaring gaps in the performance of the NRM government that we want to bring to the fore through our engagements with the citizens. We will also be supporting aspiring candidates in their campaigns. And finally, settling outstanding matters of conflict, residual conflicts in selected districts. Therefore, beginning late January, the party will carry out simultaneous outreaches to all the 4 regions of this country. This will be done through many political rallies and meetings at constituency level. We shall release a program for this particular activity in a week's time. We call upon all members and supporters to embrace this program. As a matter of fact, we are now going down from that level where we were, speaking at sub-regional level in rallies involving probably a handful of people, to be going to the center or the theater of politics of this country, and that is the grassroots level in this country. And so really, in engineering terms, we were bush clearing as we went around the country carrying out political rallies. We are now going to shape and form the road. And that way, we believe we shall emerge stronger, shall be able to empower candidates, will give citizens vital information, we will charge up or flare up the citizens to demand from this sleepy government, to demand from this lazy government, because that is how we can describe them. And now, and there is nothing really much to show for the 40 years of their existence in power. Instead, we see Mr. Museveni trying to extend his stay in power, and the prophecy of 50 years brought to the fore by the late Professor Nabwiso seems to be coming to a reality, and something that the FDC would like to stop. Finally, I would like to address you on matters of the Electoral Commission roadmap. According to the National Electoral Commission roadmap, it is expected that the next president of Uganda will be announced around January next year. Under the Constitution, the Electoral Commission is mandated to provide or deliver free, fair, and equitable environment for all citizens to exercise their democratic right. However, the Commission that is single-handedly chosen by Mr. Museveni has repeatedly amended this electoral roadmap with minimal communications to citizens and political party leaders who are key stakeholders in any election. One critical amendment that demands attention is the update of registers. Without this exercise, we cannot have a full complement of voters. Without having a full complement of voters, we are not going to give people the freedom in totality to exercise their civil right of voting their leaders. If this very exercise of registration and update of registers is not handled well, then the outcome of this election will not be in accordance with the will of the people of this country. The Electoral Commission intends to conduct this exercise from the 20th January to the 10th of February 2025, a period of only 21 days for such an essential exercise. This exercise, as I have said before, involves registering new voters and updating voter details, Of course, no change of voting area by those who may be interested to do that, changing their polling stations. Originally, the amended roadmap had scheduled this process for 3rd to 25th January 2021, allocating only 23 days. As the FDC, we are deeply concerned about the limited time allocated to this critical exercise. We strongly believe that a voter registration and update exercise of this magnitude requires at least 2 months. You know, we're looking at about 18 million voters in the next election. And you are stampeding these voters. You know, their core work is not to register to vote, not even to move from one polling station to another. They have to make a living. And so having this kind of exercise involving many people just taking place within 21 days without proper civic education is failing the citizens of this country. Appears rushed, uncoordinated, raising serious concerns about the preparedness of this election, the preparedness of the Electoral Commission for this election. We need to be reminded that Mr. Museveni and 26 others decided to go to the bush on account of an election that did not go well, leading to the death of over 500,000 people in the Luero Triangle of Buganda. And these had ripple effects on the security of the people of Uganda, leading to the death of thousands of people in the emerging insurgencies in Teso, in Lango, and in Acholi, and to a certain extent to Buganda, the cradle of the NRM. And I think we should be alive to the fact that we need to avoid any conflict emerging from a contested outcome of an election. Because our history informs us that we would be trading or walking slippery and dangerous path if we continued to take election as a casual, periodic event. The Electoral Commission has also failed to adequately engage stakeholders through the implementation of the roadmap. The Commission has been complacent in disenfranchising voters by colluding with certain candidates to remove the details of rival candidates and voters from the Electoral Commission system. This malpractice certainly evident in many electoral areas across the country, where we remain vigilant to prevent a reoccurrence. The Commission has also failed to gazette electoral areas for the 2026 elections within the stipulated timeline. This is an indictment on the Electoral Commission. According to the roadmap, these areas should have been gazetted and communicated to stakeholders by the end of November 2024. It is sad to note that to date, as we speak on the 15th of January 2025, no such information has been shared despite our formal inquiries to the Electoral Commission. Actually, we run a very, very efficient electoral system within the FDC. And our electoral officials in the districts have raised a red flag on this in writing, calling to our attention the need for us to engage the Electoral Commission and get them to define the electoral boundaries. This lack of transparency mirrors the confusion witnessed in 2020, where electoral areas were gazetted just days before nomination, causing challenges for candidates and stakeholders. You can trust that if you are going to compete, if you expect to vote, you need to know where you are going to compete from and where you are going to vote from. This information is not clearly available to people who are now preparing, putting in a lot of resources, exciting voters who may never get to vote for them. This deliberately orchestrated malpractice, which is criminal, which previously cost us the Soroti City East parliamentary seat, must not be repeated. And this is a call to the Electoral Commission to do their work. This is also evident in the districts of Kampala, Wakiso, and Mukono, which confusion caused by the Electoral Commission we wish to protest in the strongest terms possible. Finally, voter or civic education is a fundamental component of any electoral process. The electorate needs to know why they are going to vote. They need to know why they have got to vote candidate A in preference to candidate B. They need to know the people, the functions of the people whom they are going to vote. And therefore, to avoid voters voting on the basis of who is going to give them money, who is going to provide goodies, who is their relative, who is going to be strong at coercing them, they need to know the value of their vote. They need to know what to consider when looking out to a person whom they will vote for to represent them. This, and I know that, is within the budget of the Electoral Commission, and one wonders where such resources are deployed if the Electoral Commission is not going to go aggressively to cause civic education to happen. In light of these issues, the FDC calls upon all its leaders, members, and well-wishers to mobilize and inform the public about the importance of participating in the voter update exercise. One of the things that we are going to be doing in the field is partly to play the role of the Electoral Commission, another failed institution of the NRM. Just like the government in power that is sleepy, that has let down the people of Uganda, we have an Electoral Commission that has taken a slumber and doesn't seem to be paying attention to what their roles and duties are. We also urge, especially the youth, for whose future we are fighting for, and other eligible groups to register as voters, preparation for the 2025-2026 election period. I really don't know whether to answer questions that were not part of this press conference. I think I will volunteer to do that, since the media has now asked. Annette asked about whether we have got interest in the Kawempe North constituency by-elections. We are political players who would be interested in any competition, political competition in this country. But we also exercise some care while doing this. How would it look if we announced a candidate for Kawempe North just a few days after Segirinya is buried? It would seem as if we are actually we're waiting for Segirinya to die. And yet as a party, we wished him well. And so I think that we are going to allow the mourning period to pass. You know, the controversies even involved and the pain that the family faced during the burial. For us, we think this was the greatest embarrassment that we have experienced as a country among the political elite. That we had two different ceremonies taking place on account of the same dead person. That we had tears beyond mourning of Segirinya. So we are going to allow the family to mourn their dear one. In any case, the Electoral Commission has not, in fact, I doubt whether Parliament has written a letter yet informing the Electoral Commission of that vacancy. So we want to exercise some bit of restraint. But that said, the leadership of the party is going to sit. We listen to each other. We do not dictate. I cannot, as president, come here and say, yes, we are going to be involved in this exercise. You should also remember that in the election of 2021, we presented a candidate in Kawempe North. We have got to carry a survey of whether the ground has remained the same or it has shifted. So there are a number of considerations that are going to be taken before we finally make the announcement. So hold your breath. If this is going nowhere, we are around and we shall make a statement when the need arises. I think NRM has really got anything to celebrate. Deep in their hearts, they know they have failed this country. 39 years of their existence, and we still see poverty levels going through the sky. 39 years of their existence is paying for their education, and they cannot be meaningfully employed. So there is an array of things that can be said in relation to the failure of the NRM. 39 years of lack of democracy, the rule of law, lack of respect for human rights, where people are taken, to court just like that, to any court. What is there good to be said about NRM? And that is why we as a political organization have continued to fight to ensure that Ugandans are presented with a better nation. I think that there are individuals who have come up wanting to return to the party, or there is an individual, Mr. Kibet. I said hundreds are on their way back to their party. And soon, even thousands will be coming to their party. This will involve not only those who were originally with us, but we know that the FDC, as it is now, is the preferred choice for most Ugandans who want change to happen in this country. And so we are like the light in the darkness that is now attracting everybody. And it makes us very happy. Because coming from a point where we were almost written off, from a point where people prophesied our death, they actually said we were dead, buried, and our funeral rites performed. But here we are, a point of attraction to all Ugandans who want to see something different happening in this country. Mr. Kibet talked about a united opposition. Whether the challenge might be on who becomes a flag bearer for the presidency. Cooperation or even coalition can be at different levels. I think that we make a mistake when we look at the topmost level alone. But while I am addressing this question, I also want to decry disunity within the political parties in the opposition, which is going to become an encumbrance to such unity. Factionalism within opposition groups must be sorted immediately for any form of cooperation, coalition, or unity to ensure. Gladly for us, we are masters at dealing with internal problems. And it's the reason why I said we have now peace and quiet in the FDC, and do not have any impedance whatsoever to our progress as a political party arising from internal difficulties. And therefore, we now have all the time in the world to tackle the person with the ball, which is, again, a great achievement on our part. And, I'd like to thank my colleagues who have made this possible. I did mention, of course, that we will be having a National Delegates Conference in June to elect our flag bearer. We have decided that this takes place in June to give us enough leverage to understand how 2026 is going to play out, because as you are aware, the Electoral Commission will be nominating presidential flag bearers in October this year. Our e-registration. When we set out to do our e-registration, we said to you, Mr. Mayanja, I hope you were here during that press conference, that our e-registration is an ongoing exercise. It's a work in progress. We also stated to you that What we are looking for are members, those who are willing to pay for their cards and continue to subscribe to the party. This does not mean that we have given up on sympathizers and supporters and well-wishers. We also gave the example of one of the outstanding democracies in the world, and that is the UK, where I think the ruling party, the Labour Party today, in a democracy of 45 million, has only about 350 registered members, 50,000 registered members. So to answer your question directly, I don't have the exact figure. We'll have to check on that. But my estimation the last time that we got feedback is that we have registered up to 50,000 members. Now those are committed members, those who will die for the party, those who will contribute financially to the party, those who will campaign for the party, and that is a large number. We are very happy about what we have achieved. And we are also going to go out, a clap for us for that matter, members of the media. We are also going to go out to continue with this exercise in the second phase of mobilization. Lini Katigundu, about Dr. Kizza Besigye. You will recall that here I issued a statement on the incarceration of Dr. Kizza Besigye. I did issue a statement, first relating to the manner in which he was kidnapped, but secondly, on his presence in the military court. We did issue a statement. And the dictatorship has continued to try him in the military court without any regret. It would seem like flogging a dead horse to continue to tell Museveni and his military judges that it's a wrong thing to continue trying Dr. Kizza Besigye in the military courts, because they have blocked their ears. They are not going to listen to anything. They have not listened to counsel to the accused, Dr. Kizza Besigye, and our elder Obed Kamlegia. Instead, Aaron Kizza has been given 9 months in jail unfairly. They have not listened to the voices of political players in this country. They have not listened to the voices of civil society and the international community. They have not listened to the voice of these many activists who have always appeared in Makindye court. Will they listen to the voice, an extra voice of the FDC? We are dealing with a military dictatorship. That is one thing that you must know. That is insensitive to the feelings of the population, that is insensitive to what the population says, that is insensitive to the rule of law. The reason why I think that, and you know, Dr. Kizza Besigye is not the only one who has gone through this suffering. Many of our activists have suffered the same fate. There are people who are still within the military court, and we have spoken to this. So I think what we are really going to do, you know, for me, I've always told people signing papers and issuing threats is not going to help. Action is what will help the fate of political leaders facing the similar situation to that of Dr. Kizza Besigye. So it is not right to accuse us of not standing in solidarity with him. We have stood in solidarity with him. We don't have to announce how we do this, because behind the curtains we have engaged. That is all I can say.
That issue.